Gasoline is the #1 source of explosions in sewer systems. 1 gallon of gasoline, when vaporized and mixed with air, has the same explosive force as 14 sticks of dynamite. I know you find it hard to believe, so I urge you to Google that when you get back home and take a look at it for yourself. Gasoline is very explosive whenever it's vaporized, and that's what happens whenever you push it into the sanitary sewer system. It is not miscible in water, so it separates out, and then the fumes build up in the confined space. Overflows. Usually we're on the 6 o'clock news, and you got a sanitary sewer overflow, and everybody's saying, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Utility caused this sanitary sewer overflow. No, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Utilities did not cause the sanitary sewer overflow. We're charged with fixing the sanitary sewer overflow, but we did not cause it. Usually the cause of a sanitary sewer overflow is bacon grease. You know, everybody here like bacon? Right, yeah, you're the ones. I knew it, you know. So bacon grease, you know, when you take that little bit of grease and you pour it into your drain after you fried your bacon, that is a huge problem for us. It causes 53% of our sanitary sewer overflows. Grease being pushed into the sewer. The grease mixes with any oil present also. Fast oils and grease, that's what we call it. We call it fog. And we are very concerned about that because that is a heavy load on our infrastructure. It costs you money. Corrosion. If it's got a pH that's lower than 6 or greater than 12, it's going to lead to our pipes being corroded and eventual collapse. Here's an example of a corroded pipe that we pulled out. Here's an example of a current investigation that we're doing. That's our TV unit. We actually send little units, these little wheeled units, down into the sanitary sewer system to take a look at them and to see what's in there. And this is what happened to our unit the last time we put it in there. Isn't that amazing? Look how much oil is on that thing. It's completely covered in oil. In fact, it was broken, so we had to, when we pulled it out, they had to send it off to get fixed. And these are very expensive little robots. So that particular customer, I'm going to have to visit them. And usually if I'm visiting you, it's not a good for me or you. So that's a problem. Plant upset. Plant upset can occur. Again, what did I say about our treatment plants? They are biological, okay? So it's just like the biology, those little bacteria that are living in your intestine. We just have great big tanks of those bacteria, and that's how we treat waste. We have the little bugs that eat it up. You know, when you send it to us, our bugs just eat it up, and they consume it. Well, if you send us something that will kill the bugs or will pass through the bugs, it causes plant upset. Here's an example of another investigation that we're currently undertaking. This is an example of too much soap in the sewer. It's at just prior to our outfall. We're trying to get the soap out and collect it, but this is someone who has dumped a large amount of soap into our sewer system, and now we're going to have to, go visit that person and talk with them. So soap in the sewer is a problem. If you see it foaming, it probably shouldn't be going in the sewer. There's a relationship that we really don't like to think about, but it exists. Everything is recycled sooner or later. So really the best way is to prevent the pollution from getting into our system to start with. If you don't want to drink it, don't put it in there, And so the best way is to prevent the pollution from ever getting into the cycle. That's really the best way. These are what I call water sources. Some people like to call them wastewater sources. But remember, I said wastewater, no, we're not going to waste a drop. This is where this material comes from. Residential, medical, restaurants, automotive, educational, religious, industry, all those things are fed into the collection system, and then they come to the treatment plant, where magically we're supposed to remove it. There's no magic at a treatment plant. They're just basic biological science, okay? So we remove what we can of it, and then we recycle that water back to the stream that leads right back to where? Your water supply. And we recycle the solids back to the land. So we can treat it most of the time. But wastewater infrastructure was built to handle domestic sewage. Anything that is higher in strength than domestic sewage requires more effort to remove, and in some cases, particularly those heavy metals that can be associated with cars, may not come out. What do we do if we have to enforce? Well, there's a list of available remedies. There's a notice of violation. That's just basically a warning to you to let you know, okay, this is a problem. Then there's a compliance agreement, a compliance order, a cease and desist order, suspension, termination, civil penalties. That usually comes along with a notice of violation, particularly if you're a repeat offender. The Clean Water Act was streamlined recently, and the streamlining was done, that's what they call it when they make a change, streamlining. But the streamlining was done in order to encourage us to focus on repeat offenders, okay? So civil penalties will come along with some notice of violations, particularly if you're a repeat offender. Public notice, that's where either we publish you in the paper or perhaps you publish you in the paper, it depends. And then criminal violation. Criminal violation means exactly what it sounds like. You get to go to jail, to the hooskow, you know. Has that ever happened to someone who violated Clean Water Act in Mecklenburg County? Anybody know? Yes, it has. We actually we had an unfortunate, shall I say, unfortunate revelation with someone, and that was last year, and that was for putting grease in the sewer, believe it or not. He gets to spend a year in jail.
Cherokee Resources?
Yeah, that was the one before. The one I'm thinking about is, he just got 1 year. And remedy is non-exclusive. Believe it or not, the Clean Water Act says that if you're dealing with a sanitary sewer system, we have remedies non-exclusive for making you stop your pollution. Here's an example of a customer who had an unfortunate event and violated the sewer use ordinance and put pollutants into it in Durham. And unfortunately, they had to do a public notice which apologized to the city for what they had done. So the long and short of this thing is that the cost of non-compliance should not be less than the cost of compliance. In other words, it should not be cheaper for you to operate your business out of compliance than it is for someone else who's operating a business in compliance. Okay? Here's an example of all the things that we look at on a daily basis. We're challenged with ink or dye in the sewer, window cleaners, surfactants, soaps, copper, heavy metals, all kinds of things. And we're constantly trying to trace back to the people who have caused these things. Here's a picture of our inspectors in action, going out, taking a look at things, trying to figure out what's going on, and again, tracing it back to where it belongs. Usually what we do is trace it back to the property owner. So what you're really here to find out is what is the policy for discharge to the sanitary sewer as far as it regards your business, right? Which is cosmetic cleaning. I think that's what you call it, cosmetic cleaning, right? Okay, so our policy is this. Any resident can discharge 100 gallons per day of cleaning water to their sanitary sewer cleanout or other conveyance method that leads to the sanitary sewer. We consider this to be the normal amount of cleaning associated with 1 to 4 cars. The specific prohibitions always apply. Okay, there's no get out of jail free card. There's no somebody doesn't have to comply. No, the law says that the specific prohibitions, the local limits that are listed in the sanitary sewer use ordinance always apply.